So Bethel's at this crossroad that's not unique to Bethel. All of Christian higher education is facing some of the challenges, dealing with the pandemic, dealing with the financial challenges that come along with that, unemployment rates that are high, and just direction. And it's not anything that's new to the college. You go back to the college's beginning 73 years ago. Even before the college opened, 8 months before the doors of the school opened for the first day of school, only 10% of what was needed for that year had been raised. And this is just 8 months out. 6 months out, they had the groundbreaking for the administration building, the only building that was built before the school opened its door, because it would house classes, chapels, the cafeteria was there were offices there, and they had 6 months to get it ready for the students. It was in March of 1947 that the board got together, the trustees got together, and they were in final stages of preparation. And there's a note that is written, there's a little note card that I found one time in the archives. And actually, it's included in the history of the college that was written 3 years ago. And I want to read this note to you. And the author is Woodrow Goodman, 28-year-old president of the college. And he writes down there, goal administration for Bethel College. In prayer on February 11th, 1947, I felt constrained to ask of the Lord $500,000 to be given to the school in cash within the next 5 years. Also within that time, secure my earned doctorate degree. At the same time, I pray that God will give us wisdom to use this money wisely in our training as well. I believe that if Jesus tarries, God will do this. My present resources, this kind of amazes me, $6.75 in cash, a house and car and personal property with $6,100 in obligation and needs that are tremendous. The school fund had at last report $6,500 in the bank, $35,000 worth of property, and $15,000 worth of debt. The chairman of the board, Quentin Evers, has recently overdrawn his account at the bank. And he quotes, "Poor in the world, but rich in faith. My God shall supply all your needs according to his riches in the glory of Christ." It would seem that the college has always had challenges with finances, and there's lots of other challenges that the school has faced, but the financial challenges have always been there. In the 50s, during the 50s, the students and the faculty were a major force for fundraising. Students would raise funds. This is beyond tuition, room and board. Faculty would give out of their meager salaries. I mean, the beginning faculty member made less than $2,000 a year. And I know this is a different time, but even at that time, it was really not a lot of money, but yet they gave significantly of it. The key to all of this in the early days and throughout the history of the college was that a great need always drove the school to its knees, kept the school on its knees. There were faculty prayer meetings, there were student prayer meetings that took place. You fast forward to 1971, when the college had dropped in enrollment to just over 400 students and had a growing debt. And the board gathered together, they prayed, and at that point they made a decision to sell the frontage property on McKinley Avenue. And it wasn't a popular move. It was a move that alumni weren't happy with. It felt like they gave up their birthright, but in all reality, it probably saved the school. There was a lot of prayer that went into that. And $900,000 in those days was a lot of money. They were able to pay off debt. They were able to invest some money in the school. In 1987-88, I think that's probably one of the greatest challenges, at least in my own personal experience. The college enrollment had dropped down just right about 400. It had been up over 500, dropped down 400. Budget cuts were extensive. Athletic teams were eliminated. A number of them were eliminated. And the banks began to call in their loans. And morale was low. I mean, people were frustrated, were concerned. And at that point, in May of 1988, President Bennett resigned as the president. I remember that summer specifically. I remember Steve Kramer and I were both in the administration. We spent a lot of time that summer jogging, stopping halfway through our jog and praying, and the faculty were praying. And when school started that fall, the enrollment, and it's just not really explainable, but it had jumped almost 100 students. And early in the fall of 1988, there was a great move of the Holy Spirit on the campus, and students saw their lives transformed as a result of surrendering to the Lord. I think the key for the school over the years has been prayer. I've often asked myself, why is it that the college always has this financial need? And the reality is, I'm not sure we can exist without a complete dependency upon God. He's always provided a way, and He will again. I'm convinced of that. 2007, 2008, the Great Recession that took place, was a time where there were, again, budget cuts, some layoffs, difficult time. And the school stayed on its knees. And in 2010, we had the largest enrollment the school has ever had. 2011, there was a great revival on our campus as a result of a 7-hour chapel service. God has always responded. And as long as Bethel continues to be what the name stands for, House of God, I believe that He will continue to bless this place.